Lolo Enki TV.
The Law of One, Book 3, Session 56. The 8th of June, 1981. Ra, I am Ra. I greet you in the love and in the light of the One Infinite Creator. We communicate now. Questioner, would you first please give me an indication of the instrument's condition? Ra, I am Ra. This instrument is severely distorted towards weakness of the mental and physical complexes at this time and is under psychic attack due to this opportunity. Questioner, would it be better to discontinue the contact at this time? Ra, I am Ra. This is entirely at your discretion. This instrument has some energy transferred which is available. However, it is not great due to the effects as previously stated. We, if you desire to question us further at this working, will as always attempt to safeguard this instrument. We feel that you are aware of the parameters without further elaboration. Questioner, in that case, I will ask, how does the pyramid shape work? Ra, I am Ra. We are assuming that you wish to know the principle of the shapes, angles, and intersections of the pyramid at what you call geyser. In reality, the pyramid shape does no work. It does not work. It is an arrangement for the centralization as well as the diffraction of the spiraling upward light energy as it is being used by the mind or body or spirit complex. The spiraling nature of light is such that the magnetic fields of an individual are affected by spiraling energy. Certain shapes offer an echo chamber, shall we say, or an intensifier for spiraling prana, as some have called this all-present, primal distortion of the One Infinite Creator. If the intent is to intensify the necessity for the entity's own will to call forth the inner light in order to match the intensification of the spiraling light energy, the entity will be placed in what you have called the Queen's Chamber position in this particular shaped object. This is the initiatory place and is the place of resurrection. The offset place, representing the spiral as it is in motion, is the appropriate position for one to be healed, as in this position an entity's vibratory magnetic nexi are interrupted in their normal flux. Thus a possibility/probability vortex ensues, a new beginning, shall we say, is offered for the entity in which the entity may choose a less distorted, weak, or blocked configuration of energy center magnetic distortions. The function of the healer and crystal may not be overemphasized, for this power of interruption must needs be controlled, shall we say, with incarnate intelligence, the intelligence being that of one which recognizes energy patterns which, without judging, recognizes blockage, weakness, and other distortion, and which is capable of visualizing, through the regularity of self and of crystal, the less distorted other self to be healed. Other shapes which are arched, groined, vaulted, conical, or as your TPs are also shapes with this type of intensification of spiraling light. Your caves, being rounded, are places of power due to this shaping. It is to be noted that these shapes are dangerous. We are quite pleased to have the opportunity to enlarge upon the subject of shapes such as the pyramid, for we wish, as part of our honor/duty, to state that there are many wrong uses for these curved shapes, for with improper placement, improper intentions, or lack of the crystallized being functioning as channel for healing, the sensitive entity will be distorted more rather than less in some cases. It is to be noted that your peoples build, for the most part, the cornered or square habitations, for they do not concentrate power. It is further to be noted that the spiritual seeker has, for many of your time periods of years, sought the rounded, arched, and peaked forms as an expression of the power of the Creator. Questioner, is there an apex angle that is the angle for maximum efficiency in the pyramid? Ra, I am Ra. Again, to conserve this instrument's energy, I am assuming that you intend to indicate the most appropriate angle of apex for healing work. If the shape is such that it is large enough to contain an individual mind or body or spirit complex at the appropriate offset position within it, the 76 degrees 18, approximate, angle is useful and appropriate. If the position varies, the angle may vary. Further, if the healer has the ability to perceive distortions with enough discrimination, the position within any pyramid shape may be moved about until results are effected. However, we found this particular angle to be useful. Other social memory complexes, or portions thereof, have determined different apex angles for different uses, not having to do with healing but with learning. When one works with the cone, or shall we say, the silo type of shape, the energy for healing may be found to be in a general circular pattern unique to each shape as a function of its particular height and width, and in the cone shape, the angle of apex. In these cases, there are no corner angles. Thus the spiraling energy works in circular motion. Questioner, I will make a statement which you can correct. I intuitively see the spiraling energy of the Giza pyramid being spread out as it moves through the so-called King's Chamber and refocusing in the so-called Queen's Chamber. I am guessing that the spread of energy in the so-called King's Chamber is seen in the spectrum of colors, red through violet, and that the energy centers of the entity to be healed should be aligned with this spread of the spectrum so that the spectrum matches his various energy centers. Will you correct this statement? Ra, I am Ra. We can correct this statement. Questioner, will you please do that? Ra, the spiraling energy is beginning to be diffused at the point where it goes through the King's Chamber position. However, although the spirals continue to intersect, closing and opening in double spiral fashion through the apex angle, the diffusion or strength of the spiraling energies, red through violet color values, lessens if we speak of strength, and gains, if we speak of diffusion, until at the peak of the pyramid you have a very weak color resolution useful for healing purposes. Thus the King's Chamber position is chosen as the first spiral after the centered beginning through the Queen's Chamber position. You may visualize the diffusion angle as the opposite of the pyramid angle, but the angle being less wide than the apex angle of the pyramid, being somewhere between 33 and 54 degrees, depending upon the various rhythms of the planet itself. Questioner, then I assume that if I start my angle at the bottom of the Queen's Chamber and make a 33 to 54 degrees angle from that point, so that half of that angle falls on the side of the center line that the King's Chamber is on, that will indicate the diffusion of the spectrum, starting from the point at the bottom of the Queen's Chamber. Let's say, if we were using a 40 degrees angle, we would have a 20 degrees diffusion to the left of the center line, passing through the King's Chamber. Is that correct? Ra, I am Ra. This will be the last full question of this session. It is correct that half of the aforementioned angle passes through the King's Chamber position. It is incorrect to assume that the Queen's Chamber is the foundation of the angle. The angle will begin somewhere between the Queen's Chamber position and thence downward towards the level of the resonating chamber, offset for the healing work. This variation is dependent upon various magnetic fluxes of the planet. The King's Chamber position is designed to intersect the strongest spiral of the energy flow regardless of where the angle begins. However, as it passes through the Queen's Chamber position, this spiraling energy is always centered and at its strongest point. May we answer any brief queries at this time? Questioner, I will just ask if there is anything that we can do to make the instrument more comfortable or to improve the contact. Ra, I am Ra. All is well, my friends. It is well, however, to be conscious of the limitations of this instrument. We feel the alignments are excellent at this time. I am Ra. I leave you in the love and in the light of the one infinite Creator. Go forth, therefore, rejoicing in the power and in the peace of the one infinite Creator. Adonai.